What is up, y'all? Back with another video. Hope everyone's been having a good year so far. Good start, all that. Today we will be talking about Shoto. Shoto's birth, to be exact. So to start it off, I'm going to drop a trigger warning here because we'll definitely be talking about some dark topics. Very serious and sensitive topics. So if you're not comfortable with that, please click off the vid. Appreciate you. So with that being said, let's get into the vid. I've been seeing some speculation from some people, and it's suggesting that basically Endeavor forced himself onto Ray to have Shoto. It's a very serious thing I've seen back and forth about, and the main piece of evidence, I would say, I've seen is these two panels. One panel showing Ray's disagreement of having Shoto, and then Endeavor, of course, angrily in agreement of having Shoto. Now, there's a lot to unravel here, but the story will obviously tell it better than me. So to sum things up, Ray was sold by her family into a quirk breeding marriage, something that's looked at as taboo in the My Hero Academia society, which is already pretty shameful for Endeavor to do. But is it right to assume that he did this as well, considering what we have? No, it is not. Yes, I do agree we do have a big piece of content that could lead to this implication, but no, and I'll explain why after I play the clip. So as we see in the clip, it's Endeavor staring menacingly at Ray as she looks startled and frightened. And then the very next clip is Shoto being born. Yes, it does look disturbing and as if that was the last conversation that they had before Shoto was born. But it's not only because this wasn't stated anywhere in My Hero that you can't assert as a fact that it did happen, but there was off-screen time that passed that we don't know of before Shoto's birth. So sure, you can say it's heavily implied, but it's still a purely subjective thing to claim something is implied. This is important because people might say, oh, but it looks so obvious. This is clear as day. It looks so obvious. It is still a subjective thing for you to believe that this is obvious or this is quote unquote implied. As I said, and this doesn't even apply just to My Hero, this applies to life. If something is not stated in a story, let's say, in a story, if something is not stated, but the only proof of you saying that it's happening is an implication, quote unquote, then you cannot assert as a fact, as a literal fact that it happened. And this is important because in life, there's many things that people will be able to run to assume to, and it might not end up being true. And especially something as serious as this, a serious topic as this, is important to be as factual and logical as possible. An example is, let's say that you hear a noise that sounds like a punch, and then you see a character flying. Yeah, it's safe to assume that they got hit. If there is no counterproof or counter implication, like time, let's say 15-30 seconds goes before they go flying, then that gives space for you to say, oh, maybe that sound was something else. Oh, maybe they didn't get hit. But if not, then what else is there to believe? In this Endeavor and Ray situation, you of course have much time that's passed off screen, including Endeavor and Ray having Shoto before he's conceived, which gives chance to assume that this wasn't the last conversation that they had before Endeavor and Ray having Shoto / Ray giving birth to Shoto. The likelihood of that does not matter because we know off-screen time did pass. So we have no idea what could have happened in that off-screen time. So it's not fair to assert as a fact that that was the last conversation that they had, where it seems as Ray was not on the same page as Endeavor was in regards to having Shoto. Now, my personal take on this, I'm honestly very split, 50-50 on this, because yes, I do agree that clip we saw earlier does feel as if it is heavily implied that this was their last conversation right before having Shoto. But the truth is, you just can't say as a fact that it was, because we know there is off-screen time that happened or had to have happened with them having Shoto, of course, and then later him being born. And that goes without saying, the fact that My Hero characters' traumas are very touched upon in the series and spoken about very freely. the deepest and darkest of things. So if this were to be a fact, I don't see why it wouldn't be stated, or at least touched upon more in Ray's character. Or Dabi, who literally exposed everything about Endeavor growing up and all the terrible things he's caused by his terrible parenting. All of the facts were being exposed about Endeavor right here, so why would this not be a part of it? Something as heinous as this, as heinous as him forcing himself onto somebody, I don't see why that wouldn't be added to this big reveal where Dabi exposes not only that he is Toya, but also that Endeavor was a terrible person to his family. And then later, not only does Endeavor confirm everything he said was true, but if he's coming clean, he would have had to mention that too if it was a fact. And the same board that heavily went against even Hawks rightfully offing someone who was going to off multiple people if he didn't off this person being okay with this. The same bystanders that was yelling at Deku just for coming back home, that can't fly by anyone. They're giving this guy a hero redemption arc, which means he would have to come true about everything. He would have to come clean about everything. And that would have had to come up. If they heard something like that, there should be no redemption. And although some people are, this is not about protecting Endeavor. Anyone who watches the series should know he's already done unforgivable things. So this is just to be completely accurate and in general in life, like as I mentioned before, to not jump to conclusions, even if something is heavily implied, quote unquote. If you can't say for sure, if there's time that's passed between this heavily implied moment, and you can't assert as a fact that that was the last conversation they had, making it seem as if they weren't on board with Shoto being born. Stay logical as much as possible. But that's really about it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all that good stuff. Like I said, I hope everyone's having a good year so far. I know it just started, but next video I'll try not to talk about something as serious, but let me know what y'all think in the comments. What are y'all perspectives on this? If you want, just drop down and let me know. But hey, that's been it. That's all I gotta say. Hope y'all stay safe. Peace.